the nations of men. And you are witnesses to what we are saying and what the anthem is talking about. A lot of big men in this nation came out from Accra Academy. And today they are performing wonders out there. And we believe that one day you also join the trail and also do something better for Accra Academy. We have gathered here for a purpose. And in every home, at least we have a father who will tell you where you have to move and what you are supposed to do. When it comes to the headship, and you are talking about the heads in Greater Accra, our headmaster comes second to none. Indeed, he has... Oh, he's there. Charles, he's there. And referring to our own father, who is the head of this institution, is no other person than Mr. Who? Emmanuel Ofoi Fiamahre. He is going to give us the welcome address.
Thank you. You are very much aware that I'm a simple. I may make one or two remarks for the purposes of our dignitaries who are seated up here. Our chairman, Dr. Tei-Dornoo, the guest speaker, Bleoobi, Anani, Kuwornu. My colleagues, assistant heads here, staff, students, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the media, good morning to all of you and welcome to today's Founders Day ceremony. We have gathered here as the title of the Founders Day of this institution. One may ask, why Founders Day? Those of you who have been here for the past 2 years have realized and observed that every year it is to commemorate the contribution and efforts of our founders of this great institution. The role they played in serving humanity and also the development of education, not only in Ghana but globally. It is very important of the nation. 92 years after, what lessons have we learned? It is now time for us to reflect the purpose for which this great institution exists. More especially in the times that we find ourselves, in a time of technological world. How relevant is the vision and missions of our founders in this present global digitized world? And I think we have a very competent guest speaker who is to learn from history. And as history has taught us, to paint a detailed picture of where we are coming from and where we are today. That is a lesson we must learn from today's that existed those days and what are the opportunities that are there for us today. How are we taking advantage of the opportunities which were not then there, but these great institutions existed, so that we can learn lessons from that. The only way to avoid making mistakes and to improve upon ourselves is to learn the mistakes of the old. as our guest speaker is coming to give us a presentation, let us learn some lessons from the old that we have now, which were not then, and how we can move on. I know when they introduce themselves or they are introduced to you, you know the kind of caliber or dignities we have over here. They are not only meant for Ghana here today. And it is my humblest submission to welcome all of them to this program and also to urge you to take advantage of their presence here and to learn some lessons for your future and for the future of Accra.
Thank you, sir. Continue to clap for our father. Once our father has welcomed us, it means he has given us the green light to continue with the program. On that languages department, in a person of our own person for this occasion. Let's give it to her once again.
Assistant Head Administration, special invited guest, our honorable head, teaching and non-teaching staff, the media, ladies, students, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great day ceremony. Our chairperson is a thoroughbred Bleoobi of the 1984 Academician Year Group. He lives by the motto of our alma mater: learned not for school, but for life, not for self, city, as a lawyer, medical practitioner, and a medical legal consultant of more than 2 decades of experience. He is an astute clinician and champions quality healthcare service delivery and has extensive experience in. He undertakes health, human rights, and medical legal advocacy and provides consultancy guidance for both healthcare and legal practitioners. He leads teams in human rights interventions, quality care models, capacity building, and health system strengthening. And with a global fund on secondment to the National AIDS Control Program, Ghana. As a professional officer responsible for clinical care and function as the National Arts Coordinator for a decade. He is currently an individual, independent consultant of the UN AIDS and the technical doctor advisor for Equip Health Ghana, a non-profit organization providing technical support for the health sector response of HIV in Ghana. He is an external expert collaborator for the new Masters of Science in Search of Ghana School of Public Health and the Legon School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. Our chairperson is a member of both the Ghana Medical Association and Ghana Bar of the African Palliative Care Association, with headquarters in Kampala, Uganda. He has passion for the development. He is a Christian and a foot soldier for Christ. He is married to Sandra, and they are blessed with 3 children. At Tei-Dornoo. Our chairperson, Dr. Tei-Dornoo, your audience, your chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Continue to clap for Madam Evelyn. Madam Evelyn, We thank you for that wonderful presentation. In fact, I call him Dr. Michael Nettie, the owner of Cosmos Academy, and an old boy who is here with us. Please, that is not your sitting place. I want you to come. Bleoobi 84, the president. Now I'll hand over the microphone to our chairperson to give us the response.
English school. My boss, Mr. President of AOBA, and my immediate boss, Michael, who is the president of our 84-year group. We look young, but we are very old. And our distinguished speaker, I deem it coming to Accra on any day is a great honor. We are busy running around and doing a lot of things, but we deem it necessary to come home anytime, and I'm grateful that I've been asked to perform this duty of chairing this great occasion. As we all know, MC was saying that, I said, oh, it's a matter of course. So, thank you, Mr. Headmaster, for coming to steer the affairs of our great institution from where the fathers and those who came after them left off. I accept, so we can give our distinguished speaker the opportunity to have more time to bring out all that he has within him for the benefit of all of us, but particularly for the benefit of our students.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for that wonderful speech. We still have enough space for our good friends who are standing. So please, you can move up here and take a seat. Thank you very much. We are now moving straight to the point that the is introduced. You will give us a song. I will at this time invite the counselor of this institution in a person of Madam Pearl Agbeto to come up on stage and introduce.
Thank you so much, Mr. Paul Kofi Yesu Dazi. Mr. Chairman, Dr. Dornoo, please permit me to lean on the existing protocol to Bleoobi Anani Yao Kuwornu is an alumnus of the Great Accra Academy. He graduated with distinction in business studies and was the proud winner of the coveted National Debating Championship. While in Accra Academy, Yao Kuwornu was a student leader, starting his leadership journey from the first year as SRC executive and subsequently professionally. Mr. Kuwornu has occupied senior roles in communication, development, diplomacy, and human resources management, where he leads the development and execution of cutting-edge strategies for communication brands and stakeholder management. In recent times, his work has multi-dimensional interventions to showcase the impacts of Talos operations in Ghana. Prior to joining Talo Ghana, Bleoobi Yao Kuwornu West Africa Mission as the Development Outreach and Communication Specialist. In that role, Yao oversaw the deployment of the mission's communication alignments with the border agency goals, while yet addressing the peculiarity of development in the African sub-region. He joined USAID West African Mission after 5 years of service as public diplomacy officer responsible for promoting as the Embassy of the United States of America in Ghana. Prior to joining the U.S. Embassy, Yao also worked in a mid-level management role as Human Resources Officer responsible for training professional achievements. Bleoobi Anani Yao Kuwornu is a budding academic with strong interest in understanding the intersection between digital media, crisis, and intercultural communication. His interests are driven by the desire to explore the management of crisis on the back of digital evolution and advances in technology, and the title Presidential Rhetoric in a Period of Crisis, analyzing President Akufo-Addo's first major COVID-19 related television broadcast, which has been accepted by the publication in the Book of Elections, Media and Communication in Ghana by the University of Media, Arts and Culture, UNIMAC, to be released in October 2023. In this role, he continues to champion the development of Accra Academy through his contribution to the alumni development programs and herald the 20th anniversary celebration of his year group in 2019. Bleoobi Yao Kuwornu holds a Bachelor of Arts and a Master of Philosophy degrees from the University of Ghana, and a Master of Arts degree from the University of Media, Arts and Culture. Receive our special guest of honor, Bleoobi Anani Yao Kuwornu. Welcome, sir. Please resume your seats. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Pearl. Can we continue to clap for Madam Pearl? I want to see your hands. I'm not seeing it. Great, great, Madam Pearl. You know, when the Bleoobi come, Accra, now the choir will lead us in the song, and after that, the guest speaker will mount the podium and then talk to us. Thank you. Wonderful. How sweet the name of Jesus sounds. We thank the Savior and the school choir for that song. We'll now be on our feet and with a round of applause, welcome our guest speaker to come up here and then speak to us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Please, you may take your seat. Thank you. And thank you to the choir for that song. That struck a lot of memories. And so every time I hear this hymn, it brings back memories. And I appreciate that you selected that one. Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, Bleoobi, Dr. Bernard Donu, B84, the headmaster, Mr. Emmanuel Thiamawel, the global alumni president of Accra Academy Old Boys, thanks for the correction, staff and faculty of the great Accra Academy, fellow alumni herein gathered, and senior Bleoobi gathered on the stage, allow me to acknowledge my mentor and big brother, Dr. A big part of my development is thanks to his encouragement. Students, viewers, and listeners joining us virtually, friends from the media here today, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I greet you all well. Like many other institutions, holds its Founders' Day to commemorate the founding of this noble academy and to discuss ways of sustaining the legacy that our founders left for us. For us, Bleoobi, and for the benefit of our guest affiliate of the great Accra Academy. For us, Bleoobi, this is more like a family meeting where we talk about issues related to our school. First, let me express my sincere gratitude to the Board of Governors, the Management Day Memorial Lecture. Indeed, I know how much premium has been placed on my head with this noble call, given that a lot more qualified and great sons and daughters of this academy have come before to do justice to the subject of discussion laid before us today. My hope is that at the end of this deliberation, I would have succeeded in instigating a deeper family conversation with faculty, students, alumni, and guests, as well as all those joining us online for your presence once again. It tells me how much you value this great institution and are willing to be part of the discussion to move it forward. The vision of the founders, relevance after 90 years in the current technological world. Adults, because not only does this topic require an in-depth with that relevance in the context of today's world, and perhaps go a step further to examine how much more relevant it will be in the future. Why? Because the future the founders envisaged is today. And our future is intricate in his speech, but as I promised, I will do well to touch on the key points with the hope that as a family, we will continue this discussion even after today. To do this, it's important to give us a firm understanding of the vision of the founders. Then I will proceed to elaborate the essence of the vision in that era. I will then juxtapose that with the relevance future of our school, our country, and the world in the context of technological advancements, of course, with a call to action. As some of us may know, this noble institution, who had received quality secondary education from both the Wesleyan High School and the Missionary Grammar School systems, and proceeded to acquire higher education at the Fora Bay College in Sierra Leone. They were thus very well equipped with aspirations to be lawyers, doctors, and agronomists in favor of teaching. It is worthy of note that the then vice principal of the Prince of Wales College, what we now call Achimota School, the renowned opposed to their various career aspirations. But Mr. Chairman, what makes this history important is the fact that the Gold Coast had very few secondary schools then, most of which were the preserve of the elite and very influential in society. In fact, in the only documented history book of the Accra Academy, the author, Simon Ontoyin, a proud Bleoobi himself, vividly described the 3 secondary schools in the British Accra colony, Achimota College, O'Reilly School, and Accra High School, as admitting pupils who had parents or guardians in higher places of chance to experience secondary education. But by virtue of the enterprising efforts of a man named Joseph Kitson Mills, many of these deprived children had already benefited from elementary education at the then only private elementary school at the time, the Accra Royal School. This left both a burden and a desire on the 4 young men, K.G. Konua, G.N. Alem, and the privileged homes could access secondary education. But Mr. Chairman, bear in mind that the educational system at the time did not make it easy to qualify as a government-assisted secondary school, given its many requirements. Thus, the secondary education for the poor impossible. Thus, the founders unanimously agreed that the establishment of the school was to bring quality education, and I emphasize quality education, to children of parents who could not afford the then boarding school system education to the less privileged in society. Mr. Chairman, given the historical perspective, you will agree that first, the vision of the founders at the time was not only relevance in the sense of giving opportunity to the less privileged, but also on quality, and by extension, international standard secondary education to these children. The founders were well aware that graduates from the Great Accra Academy then would have to compete with their counterparts from the elite schools for limited opportunities and skills to be successful. You will also agree with me, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that there was a much more noble cause for the founding of the school, to bridge the economic gap and widen the educational bracket of the fact as pertained then, and envisage that the socio-economic divide that existed then will continue even in the face of development. Were they right? I bet they were, because 90 years on, we still see great disparities in economic statuses around us, reflecting the classism of the society then in the Gold Coast era as it is today. They certainly foresaw that there will always be less privileged children and wanted to build an institution. This is what gave the impetus to the son of peasant parents who grew up in the doldrums of Alajo, a stark deprived community in Accra, to dare to become the boys prefect of the Great Accra Academy in 1999. I'm talking about the story of Bright Kwame Anani Crane, which is one that reflects the impact and Impunga is sentenced to life in poverty and mediocrity. Through the Great Accra Academy, Kwame and many others like him had access to quality education, which built his confidence, allowed him to dream eternity, working as a leadership and behavior change consultant striding across more than 41 countries in Africa, Europe, Asia, and the Americas. This is impact. After 90 years, this is the same impetus I want for the son. Where's Brian? Brian is here. Come, come. This is Brian, the son of a Kenyan expatriate. Same impetus I want for him to have this quality secondary education, his secondary education. with the hope that the education they receive is on purpose of many of us. Giving credence to the first stanza of the school's ode to you, black and gray acknowledge you. A lifetime of feeding in thoughts, in words, and deeds are further widened by the advancements in technology, but access to quality education, economic empowerment, and socioeconomic advance requires that critical skills such as data enable upcoming graduates from this noble institution compete in the institutions of higher era to allow the children from the disadvantaged class compete favorably with their elite of life as a critical component of the education received here in the Great Accra Academy. What does this mean to us then? And how shall we embark on this pursuit? To continue to give will only remain relevant and in real and application of knowledge to make people can now drive themselves that to, or if you belong to the elite society then, having perhaps one house with cameras, audio recording capabilities, and all kinds of sophistication that have simplified life and social interaction. We have come from a lot. By way of examples, I believe this is what the theme describes as the tech that's envisioned is what we call today. Okay. And that future will be intricately tied to our today. Okay, I will explain what I mean. That is why which we can see afar today. That world where there will be the ability to live a whole work and life with artificial intelligence or develop fast medicine, agriculture, energy, arts, learning. That world, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, is what I want to include. Let us assess the relevance of our founders' vision. If bridging the socioeconomic divide and making available quality education was the bedrock of by the advent of technology must still be bridged. And quality, agree with me, Mr. Chairman, to do this, we need four key considerations, which I to revisit our educational curriculum and ask the pertinent question, does our educational system in Ghana, the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service must champion a renaissance of our educational system, changing trends and positioning ourselves to be partakers of the times. And I dare say of technology. He can attest to that. In the absence of that, we run the risk of depending heavily on other nations for the skills and resources that will allow us to engage in global trade and interaction with us. And if we are not positioned to properly engage, we will be at the losing end hub. To date, more than 5 overnight. It took a deliberate national strategy. Country, we must begin to question the power of our secondary curriculum, given that it forms the foundation for human capital development for the nation. We must question what subjects we are teaching our students and check how relevant they are to current trends. We must make the bold decision to increase the uptake of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education among our secondary schools, and even go to the extent of making courses like coding highest point. It is at this point that is following this conversation to consider starting initiatives like robotics, initiatives like getting the kids to do coding are very important, and they can be have key roles. An active member of the deliberate pursuit of science by schools like West and persistent pursuit of an educational philosophy is often rooted in have the backing of their respective churches or mother institutions, and hence the availability of funds to execute such redefine the reputation of the school based on innovative approaches in line with current technological advancements. Let us begin from there. Before we interrogate, our great academy was positioned to be the best liberal arts education institution from the onset because of the context of education at the time, examine the needs of society today, and deliberately, Mr. Chairman, incorporate the solutions in the development of co-curricular activities. In fact, children who don't go to school or can't afford school fees. This way, we will not only be building nations of men, but indeed making great men of them because of the solutions they provide to society. And I choose these expressions carefully. Of the Accra Academy have a big role to play in making the vision of the founders of our great institution continuously relevant. I therefore will position this charge squarely at the feet of the Accra Academy Old Boys Association under the leadership of secondary schools in Ghana who have succeeded in carving a niche for themselves, have done so through self-driven innovation, with the sacrifice of the first 4 gentlemen, following which many other people supported. That village, in the case of Accra Academy, is the alumni and the affiliate, not old students of Accra Academy, appreciate the impact of the school in national development and remain proud of us. A good example is a friend of mine who was supposed to be here, but had medical issues and is dealing with that, Stephen Anti, who I'm acquainted about some 12 years ago. He and folks like him have to be encouraged to continue to love the school, and which I know Mr. Kofi Amwewa is leading, to bring all alumni on board and coordinate alumni activities in ways that will enable the pooling of resources for the development of the school. It is only then that we will have the economic muscles to support the advancement, deep understanding and influence in technology-related endeavors to provide some direction for the development of co-curricular activities in the tech space. Sam Nota and Charles Jaka have charted important careers in data science and technology. These and many like them are resources that the alumni leadership must target to bring those knowledge and experiences of seasoned alumni and affiliate members to develop mentorship programs that will identify, groom, and lead younger Bleoobi through being a beneficiary of that kind of mentorship. And that's what I am encouraging the alumni to do. Thanks to the leadership of Bleoobi Kofi Amwewa, this initiative has commenced. But let me use this August platform to appeal to colleague Bleoobi across the face of this earth. We, you and I, make up the KG Conyers, the GN Alemes, the SN Auletes, and the J.A. Hamados today. It is our sacrifice that will make this institution great in the face of technological advancement. Mr. Chairman, distinguished students, are you here? Akraka. Akraka. Here. You know, but I was passionate about it. To teach yourselves or be part of the critical solutions that will make life even better. Careers in technology. The future, they say, things you can use technology to improve. I change problems. You will be amazed that your ideas will be given wings to fly, and that is how you too can break through to your fortunes. Mr. Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I know I have said a lot. Lawyers, poets, and musicians. No, I am not advocating for abandoning to make the results achieved from these areas even more potent. Because in our current and what I foresee, I am therefore asking for the deliberate pursuit train as such, but let them learn at the minimum to enhance their work and improve the outcomes. At the same time, with a goal to become solution providers like Mark Zuckerberg, too, can develop a solution that can be used globally. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it was the hope of the founders of Accra Academy to see the school continue to churn out well-meaning young men who will contribute to the development. I ask, shall we continue to pursue this vision or shall we abandon? Translated to mean better to be than to seem to be. So the expected end. I hope I have been able to ignite a passion in you to consider. I hope we will continue the debate on educational reforms needed to meet the needs of our time and beyond. I hope you agree with me and Edward Teller, the Hungarian-American. The science of today is the technology. The founder's vision remains relevant today.
Thank you. Please, you can resume your seat. To grant you the opportunity to ask questions. What we have on our wall, and I want the student to read that one to us. That tells you that the man who is also in charge of affairs, for the part they've been hammering about technology, the AI, and this Monday, that is last Monday, when the minister of that effect. So as a student, what are you learning out of that? I'm sure if the opportunities, the things that he raised here, they are also working towards that, with the effect of bringing out new curriculum. And I'm sure all giving us. It is now time for us to ask questions. But before we do that, Let's clap for them. Let's clap for them. That is the Accra Academy choir and the band. Because of their performance, it is time for me to introduce the big men up here to you. But there is one person who has also been called to another duty elsewhere. So I want him to come up and deliver something short. And after that, I'll do the introduction. Who works with the United Nations? Dr. Ishmael Dodu.
My president of AHOBA, students who are all gathered here. I feel a lot of emotions standing here to share with you today. I was born in Ododo constituency. I have come from one of those places that you would never thought of that will be able to make it into a professional who could contribute to Ghana, to Africa, and to the world. But for the opportunity that Accra Academy gave me, I am able to relevance of the vision of the founders. And I see here some of my teachers, Mr. Dogbete. I would like to say a few words. So by way of background, just to say that I worked for many years with the United Nations, and I've had the privilege to be a special advisor to the Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. And through my career, I've been able to work within 36 countries of Africa and over 54 countries in the world. So I have quite a few experiences that I want to share. But I want to talk to you in reference to you who's sitting here and really in here, where is the African continent moving towards? And what role are you able to play in this context? Suppose or the founders, and standing tall among others to say that you are a Bleoobi and what would distinguish you from the rest in the technological world. So interrogating the question of relevance, I want to interrogate. Every international corporation is going to look at Africa in the next 10, 20 years as the place to hire human capital. India and China, they are having what is called the aging population. So the average population of their age is between 45, sometimes 50 years. Now we're looking at an Africa countries, in Ghana in particular, where we're the only company in the world, whether driven by Elon Musk, Bill Gates, you name it, any multi-billion-dollar. So how do you position yourself in this world as we're going? The time for Africa is today. The time for Ghana is today. Could Ghana dream to produce the leaders that will want to go to the moon? Could Ghana dream to be the leaders that will push the frontiers of international economy and global economy in Africa that we have not seen? Then necessarily, you who is sitting here, your future is very important in that dream. So the question you ask yourself, as Yahya said, in a technological way, this thing seriously as you are here. Would you want to be the person that will make that difference in Africa? Would you be on these lectures and listen to some of these speeches and think it is flamboyant? We are actually constructing your future. So the question to you is, what kind of future do you want to construct for yourself as you listen to some of this? You have seen interrogating the question of relevance. It is for me to ask you, how relevant do you want to be in the next 10, 15, 20 years when you leave from here? The second question is, and this is why the training of Accra Academy is very instrumental. In this day where we have in a country where everything seems to be going haywire when you talk about character in leadership, in governance. Non CB said, Alice, esse quam videri, better to be than not seem to be. The values of authenticity, the values of character, the values of integrity that you are being taught here just by the fact that you walk through this. It is a foundational principle that could take any country to the next level. And it is that principle that will take this nation to the next level. And let me tell you, in the next few years, the country will be looking for people of integrity and character. Could it be you sitting here? And my final point, look at all of you who are sitting here in the choir, just playing the trombone, playing the instruments. Some of you are sitting here digesting everything that we are talking about and having all kinds of things going through your mind. You talked about some of you in the STEM classes and so on. You are the most creative generation that Ghana has. And if you don't believe that, I want you to hear that from the son of Ododo Jojo, who has been in Bukom. I can tell you, you are the most creative talent Ghana has. And if you do have that creativity, my last point to you is, could you be relevant with your innovation and create solutions? This is where you create wealth. You don't follow riches. Wealth is better than riches. Because wealth is about ideas. It's about the world is looking for people that are prepared for the challenges ahead. The world is not looking for people who think they have the solutions. They are looking for people that the world is looking for. And Ghana has many challenges. The problems we have faced in this country, all of them are business ideas. Now, if you think about it, if you can solve any problem, then you are the wealthy businessman the country is looking for, and you are the leader that will take us to the next level. So I believe in you, and I want you to know that you are the most important individual to carry this nation to the next level. Thank you very much.
Ismail Nidodu. Doctor, we thank you so much. And if you don't see him when the program is coming to an end, it means he has asked for permission already. He works with the United Nations and he has been called to another duty. We thank you so much, Doctor. People with added values, people with what? Integrity and what? It is now time for us to ask our questions. We've heard a lot. And if there's something that we don't understand or you want to add something to what the speaker said, this is the time for us to do so. Who is coming out?
My name is Amos Kwesi Sodoji. So thank you for the opportunity. I want to please ask that what role is the Accra Academy Old Boys Association playing to ensure that there is an educational reform in the country, Ghana? Thank you.
Second person. Yes, come over. Clap for him as he comes up to ask his question. Yes, so you give him the microphone.
To ask this question, that you said ChatGPT and Google Bard are going to be one of the leading progenitors in the technological advancement, but says from just putting in a prompt, and that takes away the hard work that you have to put in. So I want to ask, won't putting ChatGPT and Bard AI into the curriculum rather affect the students' learning?
Thank you. Please, are you taking notice of? Yeah, one more. Then one more. You can take the first set, and then we come back again for another set. So one more person. So that we have three. Okay, who is coming? If you are not ready now, you take the first two questions and
let me attempt to take the first question first. I'll actually put that within the context of the relevance question. How relevant is that to future life? So within that context of relevance, and I'm happy in that context, and within the context of what the association is doing now, it's important to keep in mind that what you learn here, right there, we have a mission. Once a student passes through the walls without core values, without the mission of the school. So within that context, we will hope that when people leave here and continue, they cannot forget the vision of the founders. They cannot forget the core values of the school. They cannot forget the missional development that they pursue. And then hopefully, by the time society calls on them, by the time they find themselves engaged in public life, mission of the school is, what the core values of the school is, they will not disappoint society. So I think it's a relevance question. What you learn professionally, apply it to yourself as you find work to do, apply it to yourself as you even set up your own tech-based organizations and companies and so on and so forth. So it's a relevant question. You have to remember what you were taught here. You have to remember the values that were inculcated in you, and when you move beyond, you don't forget it. You don't leave them behind. You go through Accra Academy, you leave the gates of the school. You don't leave these things behind. You apply them. The economic development we are looking for, the governance we are looking for, the respect for human rights, and the progress we want.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Is doing to support or to effect any reforms in this change in the curriculum. Yeah, very well. That's correct. Initially, when he asked the question, I heard a remark, a heavy question. Yes, but it's very simple. For any effective reform to take place, there's a need for retraining of the mind, matter, educational policy. And we all know the change agents is the key person that must come in. Talking about educational reform, it is the teacher. The change agent is the teacher. And there's a reform taking place, which will be effective 2024, January. And the role AOBA can play here is the support of resources. For now, we have been having in-service training for teachers. That's where AOBA can come in to help. And then the students who also, the change that is taking place in terms of the environment that the change must take place. And, you were just referring to the vision. It calls for money to get it done. In effect, a curriculum. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. A quick one, sir, you can trust the one in charge of this institution to an extent that when you even go to morning assembly, yes, it is there. Everything is there. And with time, it will be part.
In my submission, what I said was that these are technological tools that have been designed to make life a little better. And which is, how then do we make sure that students are doing the right thing with? That is where the training that you receive from Accra Academy comes in. To be honest, you have to have the character of honesty of the information. But you need to cite that source of the information in your work, which is referred to, if you don't do it, it's referred to as plagiarism, right? So even folks in the academic sector, in academic work, similarly folks in industry are also asking those critical questions. How do we matter with skill? So ChatGPT is a tool, Google Bard is a tool. It's meant to enhance 10 books to be able to write one paragraph of a thesis. You needed to write the theme of that paragraph is what you search for. And it will give you information from more than 10 books at a glance, quick and on demand. So which one do you prefer? Would you rather go reviewing them for you to come up with one page or one chapter? Or would you use the technology to get the source character, what you develop, the character of honesty? Because that is what it is. It's just like any other tool. You can use it in one of two ways, either for good or for bad. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Two more questions, and we'll move on to the next. The choir should prepare to sing the birthday song for this occasion. If nobody is coming, okay. Clap for him, clap for him. Yes.
Some people use coding for bad.
Move forward a bit.
Some people use coding for bad things. So that's why I wanted to ask if what you meant.
Okay. Then the last. If nobody is coming.
In fact, in computing, there is something called hacking, whether legally or illegally, but through computing. And that is what is used to guard the cyberspace so that folks who use coding for bad things are found out through ethical hacking. So you have national security institutions that use ethical hacking to track down criminals, cyber criminals. Those cyber, when I teach you how to code, I am teaching you how to with that skill. So it comes down individual, some of which the school plays a very vital role in inculcating things. That is why when you are late, you are punished. It is just to remind you not to be late. That's the process of building character. And it is that character that will send something across to everybody in this room on their cell phones without their permission. The question then will be, what would you want to do with that skill? And it's a case of character. So, like any tool, people can use any tool for either good or bad. Your own character. I encourage you, as students of Accra Academy, some 25 years ago, I was here. And I was a career right from the first year. And it was a lot of focus on building your character so that the skill that you gain will become.
I will now take this opportunity to introduce to you the people who have gathered here for this occasion. I will start with our own students. All students who are here should be on their feet for them to be recognized. So students, you be on your feet. And then we clap for ourselves. Thank you. You resume your seat. Then we have two far and the band, you be on your feet for us to recognize you. Thank you so much. Boys and girls who are here. Oh, let's clap for. We also have in our midst our teachers, all our teachers who are with us should be on their feet so that we recognize them. Podium where we have the senior officers. I will start with no other person than the president of Dr. Ishmael has already taken the leave with us. We have Tei-Dornoo, the chairperson. Ni Abe Ashon. 19, Mr. J.A. Odonko, Bleoobi 56. Engineer Alfred Geja, the PTA chairperson. The Mr. Abbas I. Tasunti Ampe, Bleoobi 2008. And then my own Dr. Michael Nutty, Miss Kofi Yesu, the MC for this program. We also have in our midst our assistant headmaster in charge of domestics, Mr. William Asu. Now the choir will give us the birthday song. Then after that, we take the chairperson's closing remarks. Please, you all have to be on your feet. We are singing together. 92nd birthday of our school. We are all singing on. What? 2 years. You all know the reason why all the students are not here. You know, they are closer to their examination, they are preparing, and apart from that, and two, the weather too, we all know these days how, believe going forward, we'll see how best we'll have a mammoth gathering where all the students will be there, and then we move on with our activities. Thank you. Please take your seat. Yes. Hey. Akraka. Akraka. Hip, 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 hip. Hip, 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 hip. Boys, now it is a time for the chairman to give us the closing remarks.
And we thank our guest speaker for this wonderful, succinct, excellent delivery of her background. He lives here with certain seats and certain advantage over his peers, wherever he finds himself in the walk of life. He was the debate champion. You are, because we are Accra, in the debate, so they marvel at us. I was listening to him, so many things. All young men around 30 years of age to defy the odds, to have a vision and many, many, many generations to come. And that is what self to a pity party. Oh, as for me, because my father is not this or that, because I don't come from here, or because I didn't do well in this subject. Even if you cannot see, or if to bet an institution that will bring us quality education. And so today you have an academy that can compete and globally student in us right from this school. So when the student asks the question about, because an app can deliver results for you, yes, you can cut corners to get to your destination by your character, but they cannot deliver what their job description, discipline, and an attitude of genuineness that you apply yourself, you seem to be. And that is what character and honesty is about. Too late in the night, and he was discussing this occasion with me. And I told him I would share his story of the war. And he voluntarily, blessedly, to evacuate many people from different nationalities at the risk of that we want to inculcate in you. That wherever you, not for self, but for others. Up and coming to deliver their own people, he stood at the tens of thousands of people to safety. In school could become of benefit. When When he got people across, did he understand the Ukrainian language? Did he understand Russia? A cracker German that Alotenye taught us. We silence the whole stadium and we will say, Oba German. Now it's us and Prempeh College. I hope we still speak German here. And became relevant. You see, so relevance, responsibility. He was like, everybody was looking for him. And he was helping to speak and communicate. He could speak Russia, he could speak the Ukrainian language, and he could speak. This is something that you must always ask yourself. And sometimes, as we might think we are being bothered, but I say your teachers and the headmaster and the staff, they know where they are getting you to. So the discipline that comes with learning and the building of character, that vision that our founders dreamt and brought into being this institution, will carry on from generations, creating generations of scholars after scholars. And because of the character and the discipline that they instilled in us. I am a second generation. My nephews come through as third generation academicians. So you see, when our motto and you will see my father's name on that epitaph over. We have heard here today, we should never forget. Should never forget. Less and cause you to become relevant to your generation and to generations that will come after you. That in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years to come, some of you will what the age of bad people everywhere. You know, man by nature is corruptible. All flesh is corruptible. It is what you do with your life that prevents you from becoming a corrupt person. But the nature, you veer yourself away from corrupt and deceitful practices. And you are able to live as you, a true person of integrity, and not trying to be what that you find here become part of you and your life. Was to the country, governance, curriculum, develop that it is relevant in our time. The results that we expect to happen in the current. Leave our education, the content of our education, the context of our education, the focus of our education, and the direction of our education in the hands of manifesto drafters of political parties. We educationists, technical people, education. And by that, we can compel whichever party comes to power to say, this is what we need as a country. He also spoke about governance and school management. He gave us that within the context and the confines of Accra Academy, we can make a difference and say our school is different, we run it this way, we are discussion someday amongst old boys and teachers and stakeholders to see how it brings about quality education. The technicians of the church, and I believe the president, was to ask the students. We are here to encourage you. You can achieve greatness. You can achieve. Apply yourself. Learning does not kill. To apply yourself to. Stand out. Be with you. The core values. Hard work, selflessness, integrity, honesty. This is. Be mindful to start sowing now into your future. Now, our founders made a great school. And they funded the school personally with their own resources. Because most of the students that they got to start the school with, they don't have money to pay anything. And they were determined to create a particular human where he finds himself. And I see that person in you, a person of integrity,